Ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, welcome. We are at the last lesson of the semester for Unit 10. So, if you can go ahead and open up your books, we're on page 215. At the top of the page, it says formal Arabic. Al-fusha is formal Arabic. Okay? Now, one of the things that we need to talk about is grammatical ending. And grammatical ending really is only important in formal Arabic. It's not used as much in spoken Arabic. And that is, how do words end? What are the specific cases and the specific harakat that we put on the end of a word to indicate grammatical meaning? So, for instance, definiteness and indefiniteness that indicate whether a word is the subject or if it's the object or what function it plays in that sentence. That is all what we call al-i'rab, which are case endings. Today we are not going to be talking about all the case endings because that is something you will learn in the end of 131, but really more in 132 and 231. But what we are going to talk about are, what do the grammatical endings look like? What are they called? How do we pronounce them when we see them? Okay, so let's talk about our regular harakat that we have. So go ahead, what are these? Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra. Fatha making the A sound, Dhamma making the U sound, Kasra making the E sound. What we are going to talk about today is something called Tanween. Tanween. And Tanween is when you double the haraka. So instead of having one fatha, you have two. Instead of one dhamma, two. Instead of one kasra, two kasras. And the meaning of the word tanween comes from the name of the letter noon. And what it means is to add a noon sound to the end of a word. Fancy linguists in English have come up with a term called nenation. We don't have to use that, but it's just to remind us that tanween is when you add the sound of the noon to the end of the word. Not the letter, but the sound of the noon. Okay? So, there's three types of tanween that we have. When you take a fatha and double it, it's called tanween fatha or tanween al-fath. When you take al-damma and double it, it's called tanween damma or tanween al-damm. And when you have a kasra and you double it, it's called tanween kasra or tanween al-kasr. And what this is when you take the haraka and you double it and you add the sound of the noon at the end of it. So your regular fatha would sound like a, right? If you add the noon at the end, tanween al-fath is going to sound like an. It's the a sound with the n at the end, an. Dhamma sounds like u, add an n at the end, un. Kasra is I, add a noon at the end, in. An, un, in. An, un, in. Okay? So if you have a word like, for instance, if we say masa, masa means evening. If this word had two fathas, a tanween al-fath on the last letter, you would take that last letter, the hamza, and pronounce it with an, masa'an. If it had dhamma, it'd be masa'un. If it had two kasras, masa'in. An, un, in. Okay? So now we're going to focus in on each one of these. Let's start with tanween al-fath. Tanween al-fath, which is the tanween of the fatha. Okay? The tanween of the fatha. Tanween al-fath is the only one that has a special rule. The other two are very, very simple. So, tanween al-fath. When you have two fathas at the end, the other way that you can say it is we can say, let's rewrite this. We can say فتحتين. فتحتين. And that means when you add ain to the end, it means 2 fathas. Okay, فتحتين. So tanween al-fath or فتحتين. You can say either one. When you have فتحتين at the end of a word, it's very special in that you can write a فتحتين on top of a hamza if it's at the end of a word. And you can write it on top of a ta marbuta if it's at the end of a word. But if the word ends in any other letter other than the hamza or the ta marbuta, it has to be written with an alif. So you have to add an alif to the end of the word and then write the fathatain. Okay? And we've seen examples of this already. Like ahlan wa sahlan. Every time I welcome you guys, ahlan wa sahlan. Someone comes to your house, ahlan wa sahlan. Someone tells you where they're from, ahlan wa sahlan. We did this first couple weeks of class. Ahlan wa sahlan is the word ahl, which means family. And the word sahl, which you guys have done, which means ease. And what you're doing is you're pronouncing it with an n at the end. And the way that we do that is we take that lam and we put an alif in it, like this, because the last letter is not a ta marbuta and it's not a hamza, so we have to add an alif. Ahlan. And then we do the same thing here. We add an alif and then we put the tanween on it. Ahlan wa sahlan. Okay. Shukran. Shukr is the word for gratitude or thanks. When you're thanking someone, you add the alif here. Shukran. The response? Afwan. It's written with a waw, and then you have to put the tanween al-fath on top of an alif. Okay. Marhaba in Fusha is actually marhaban. Marhaban. Like this. Okay. So, now let's look at some other words. If I have any other word that I want to take, so I'll give you a couple of words. Let's do, for instance, let's rewrite it so it looks neater. Ustad. Ustada. رجل. ولد. So take any of these words, pause the video. I'll give you one more. Sama, which means the sky. Sama. Pause the video and you're going to figure out how to put tanween al-fath. Okay. So we look at the word ustad, ends in the letter dal. It is not a ta marbuta or a hamza. So if you have a hamza or a ta marbuta, you can put the tanween right on it. If it's not one of those letters, you have to add an alif. So in order to do tanween, we have to add an alif here. Remember, dal does not connect. And then we put the tanween. Ustadan. So when you pronounce it, you take that letter, dal, and you pronounce it with n at the end. Ustadan. A word that has ta marbuta, you can add tanween right on top of. And anytime you have ta marbuta at the end and there's haraka on it, you're going to pronounce it with the T sound because that's what the letter is. Ta, right? Ta marbuta. Then we're going to add the n. Tan. Ustadatan. So ustadan, ustadatan. The word rajul, last letter is lam, so we have to add an alif. So we write the lam and then put the alif inside the lam, because remember we put it inside, means man. Rajulan. Walad. Dal. We're going to add an alif. Remember, dal is a right or die. Waladan. Sama ends in a hamza, so we can put it right on top. Sama'an. Okay. Now, grammatically, when you have a word that has tanween al-fath at the end, it usually means that it's the object or it's an adverb in the sentence. but you don't have to worry too much about that right now. Just focus on being able to read it. So if you see a word, be able to read it. So I'll give you a word, and you try to pause the video and try to read it. You're going to try to read that. So you have Jim, kasra, j. Dal, shadda, which means first you're going to stop on it, jid. Then you have to pronounce it a second time. The second time it's pronounced, there's an alif with fathatain. So that's the n sound. So the second time it's pronounced with n. Jiddan. Jiddan. Vocab word, jiddan means very. And it comes at the end of an adjective. أنا تعبانة جدا. If you want to say I'm very tired, you put it at the end. أنا تعبانة جدا. Okay, so that's the hardest one. Tanween al-fath, when you have fathatain, 2 fathas, you look at the last letter. If the last letter is a hamza or a ta' marbuta, you just put the hamza, or you just put the tanween right on top. If it's not, you have to add the alif. The other 2 are very easy. So tanween al-damm. Okay. So tanween al-damm. Or we can say dammatain, which means 2 dhammas, is very easy. The only thing that we have to really know about this is it can go on top of any letter. Whatever the last letter is, you just write the 2 dhammas on top. You can write it out as 2 dhammas like this. And sometimes in computer script, you'll see it like this. But handwritten, we normally write it like this. We put a dhamma and we just put a little tail at the end. So dhamma with a little tail. So this right here, this is 1 dhamma. And if you put a tail, now it's dhammatain, 2 dhammas. Okay, so we're going to take a bunch of words and add dhammatain to the end. Okay, kitab, ustadha, sa'a. Go ahead. So all you're going to do is you're going to put it at the end. Kitabun. And so we're going to pronounce that ba with the un sound. Kitabun. Ustadha, it's ending on ta' marbuta, so you're going to pronounce it with tun. Ustadhatun. Sa'atun. Sa'atun. Okay. Last one is tanween. Last one is tanween al-kasr. And tanween al-kasr is when you have 2 kasras at the end. Okay? And when you have the 2 kasras at the end, it's very simple. All you do, kasratain, you just put it right underneath it. So let's look at the same words. Kitab, ustadha, sa'a. Pause the video. Kitabin, ustadhatin, sa'atin. So it just has the in sound. Whatever the last letter is, pronounce it with the in sound. Okay. So now I'm going to give you a word. And you are going to put fathatain, dhammatain, and kasratain. Talib. So the first one put fathatain, second one dhammatain, third one kasratain. So you look at the very first one and you say to yourself, what is the last letter? So when you're writing fathatain, you have to look at what the last letter is. The last letter is a ba. And a ba is not a hamza and it's not a ta' marbuta. That means we have to put an alif at the end. We're going to take this ba, attach an alif, and then put an. So when you're actually writing the word out, Ba is now in medial position. And then you have the fathatain. طالبا. Okay. ضمتين, you don't have to worry about anything. You just add the dhamma on the last letter. طالب. كسرتين. طالب. Simple. Okay, let's do the same thing. قلم. Pause the video. Okay, when we want to add fathatain, 2 fathas, last letter is a meme, therefore we have to add an alif. قلما. ضمتين and kasratain are easy. قلم. قلم. Okay, so that is tanween. Tanween, when you think of tanween are only used as indefinite endings. So what that means is if you have a word with alif lam, it cannot ever take tanween. You'll never see a word that has alif lam with tanween. And the reason why is because tanween is indefinite and alif lam is definite. It defines a word, makes it specific. Okay? So what we have to now cover as the last thing is definite endings. And definite endings are very simple. Simply put, it's when you have a haraka on the last letter of a word. You're just going to pronounce that last letter with that haraka. Okay? So for instance, if you read a sentence, like this. You have the word الطالب. الطالب. Remember, ta is harf shamsi, so shadda, don't pronounce the lam. الطالب. Normally we would just end, if there's nothing on the ba, we would just say الطالب. But if you have a haraka on the last letter, all you have to do is pronounce it. So here the ba has dhamma, so we're going to say الطالب في الصف. Remember, we're connecting these. الطالب في الصف. If this word صف had a kasra, you would say في الصف. Right? So anytime you see a word and the last letter has a haraka, just pronounce it. That's all definite endings are. Now, each of these definite endings have a meaning. One's for a subject, one's for an object, one's for different types of verbs. You don't need to know all that. All you need to know is how to read them. Okay? So I'll give you a sentence. Let's do 2 new words. Actually, we'll do 1 new word in this one. So you're going to pause the video. Try to read that. Ana. So everyone should know that. Ana, min, I'm from. Ana, min, you should know that. Here's a new word. Ma, dal, ya. Ma, fatha, dal, ya, noon, ta marbuta. Madinati. Remember, anytime you have ta marbuta, the letter before always gets pronounced with fatha. But the ta marbuta here has kasra, so we're going to pronounce it with the e sound. Madinati. New York. It's just transliterated way. What I'm going to do is any handouts that you have, I'm going to try to remember to put quotations on anything that's a name of a city or a place, because the English words that are in Arabic are the hardest to read. أنا من مدينتي New York. Medina means city. So I'm from the city of New York. Okay. So now what you'll do is you're going to flip and look at page 222. Here's the big test. You have 9 sentences on page 222. واحد لا تسعة. Drill 1. And you are going to practice reading those sentences. And you're going to use all of the things that we have learned now. So you have all the letters that we've learned. You have all of the harakat. that we have done. You have the huruf shamsiya wal qamariya, so sun letters and moon letters to help you with connecting words together. And now you also have tanween, and you have definite endings. So all of these things combined, you're going to use to help you practice reading those sentences. So A, you're going to practice reading them. B, you're going to see if you can figure out the meaning, because almost everything in that drill has vocab words. There's only a couple of new words, and we'll go over those after you guys do the drill. So read through them, try to understand them. I will mention one thing in number 4, raqam 4. If you look at the 3rd word, it says Madinatuna. It ends with a nun alif. Okay, so it's the word Medina, like this, and it ends with na. This na, I think I mentioned it in a previous video, means our. So our city, Madinatuna. And the word after that, it says qadima, and then you have it written like this. This structure, all it is a ya with a meme after it. Remember when we covered the lesson on meme, we had said sometimes when you have this shape of ba, ta, tha, ya, all those letters, if you have that shape plus a meme, oftentimes it gets written like this or like this. So that's all that is. It's just pronounce the dal with a ya after it. Qadi, meme has fatha because it's right before the ta marbuta. Qadima. Okay, qadima. The rest of them, you're going to practice reading on your own. Words that you do not know, circle them, and then try to figure them out through context. Okay, happy reading.